This is part 2 of the typographic portrait tutorial, and in this part we'll be creating our text brushes and pattern. There are a few steps in this part that are a bit of a hassle because we're working on the school computers and they reset every period of every day. So there are a couple steps that you will have to repeat each day as you start working on the project. First, let's check the image size of our portrait so we know how big it is. So go to Image, Image Size. Just kind of make a mental note about how big it is, the width, the height, and the resolution. Say OK or cancel. And then let's make a new document, File New, that is approximately the same size. And say OK. And this is where we're going to make our text. So select the type tool and a font that is interesting. Don't feel restricted to just the ones that came with Photoshop. Go out and get some interesting ones from the internet. There's lots of sites that have them and they're very easy to download. So with my font chosen, I'm going to use this one, Delaney. Set it at about 72 point font. Make sure your color is set to black. Click and type a word or phrase that relates to your picture. When it looks good, give it a check. And now we have a mittens layer. Now click again, choose a different font, and write another word. And check it. So repeat this several times until you have a couple different words and a couple different fonts. Try to vary it between scripty fonts and some more bold fonts so that when we put them all together, it's not all really fine text. Sometimes the letters are a little close together, so we can actually adjust that. If I highlight this, that says winter, but it's so squished. But if I highlight it and go to my characters palette, which is over here on the right side, the letter A, if yours isn't showing, go to Window, Character. I can actually adjust how close the letters are, how tall the letters are, how slanted they are. So here I want to make them a little bit further apart. I think that's better. And again, check it when it looks good. Let's close this up. Let's make one more. Okay, so I have these words, and now I'm going to make them into brushes. I'm going to use the marquee tool, and I'm going to click on a layer, so we'll start with cold, and I'm going to draw a box around the word. And to make it into a brush, you go to Edit, Define Brush Preset, and just say OK. Yours will probably just say Sampled Brush 1. And then Control D to deselect. And then I'm going to repeat for each of the words. So next is winter. Use the marquee tool. Draw a box around the word winter. Edit, define brush preset, and just say OK. Control D to deselect. And again, Control D. Okay, so now I have 4 new brushes to use, and you're welcome to use more than 4 if you want. Now the next thing I want to do is make a pattern. And the purpose of the pattern is to fill in some of that space where the letters, where there's any empty space basically. And they'll also create some depth in the picture. So what we want to do is first of all use the Move tool, and we're going to move these words a little bit closer together. So I'm on the mittens layer, so I can only move that word. I'll go to cold. Okay, now I want to select all of the words at once, so I'm going to click on the top word, cold, hold down shift, and click on the bottom word, mittens. So now they're all highlighted blue, and you'll notice a box went around all of the words. And for our pattern, we want the words kind of small, so I'm going to hold down shift and shrink it from a corner here. Make it a little bit smaller. Okay. Then I'm going to use the marquee tool, draw a box around those words. Notice these are all still selected. And this time I'm going to go to Edit, Define Pattern, and say OK. Now the defining of the pattern and the defining of the brushes, where you draw the box around and you say Edit, Define Brush Preset or Define Pattern, those are the steps you will have to repeat. But if you save this document in your iDrive, the step you won't have to repeat is creating the text, choosing the fonts. So save this in your iDrive, and each day that you work on your portrait, when you're ready to paint with the words, you can open it up and you can redefine the brushes and redefine the pattern and then get to work and start painting.